Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Thanks for being here. We are back on a Wednesday. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, a wonderful 4th of July. It's heating up, not just the temperature, but also the world. It just keeps on going. So we're trying to get back into the groove today, and we appreciate you being here with us. How exciting is that? Head on over to CanaryCry.Party to get all of the resources that you could possibly imagine. Remember to sign up for the newsletter, because if you are signed up for the newsletter, you got all of our sources and our art and a reminder and all sorts of good stuff right in your email box. About a half hour ago. The text message has just been sent out for everybody who is not receiving notifications as well. So, all right, well, here we go. We're just doing it. We're doing it, folks. So stay hydrated. It's hot out there, so you got to stay hydrated. It's very important. Okay, and whoop-de-doo, here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is July 6, 2022, and we are live to tape, episode 505. Today, American Exodus. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, podcasting live from California, here to serve you the best show that we can. We bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. I'm a little off my beat. It's been a few days since we've done a show.
Been back in the groove.
And I'm also multitasking by trying to publish certain things while we're live here, so forgive me for
certain
not...
things, he says.
Yeah.
Certain things. Yeah. So mysterious.
I know, I'm sorry.
Perhaps a different podcast, perhaps some sort of
it's this podcast.
Pay-to-play content.
No, I don't.
Who knows?
I don't, I don't do other things with other people like you wouldn't ravel.
Oh, here we go, folks.
And Dr. Gates.
Here we go, just starting early.
We say that he's not related to good old Billy.
Oh my gosh, Gonz, save it. Save it for your tight five at the comedy store.
All right, okay.
All right, folks, here's a rundown of the show.
Yes.
Today. There we go. Today, we're starting out with a nice section on the Great Reset. Oh, you may have heard, but we got some updates on the Georgia Guidestones, baby, as well as some other historic American. I don't know, man.
Destruction.
Things are weird around here. Lots of destruction going on. And of course, we'll be checking in with Flippy. Flippy over there is doing robot stuff. We need to know what he's up to. Then, of course, we'll be talking about the 4th of July mass shooting, the suspect, and some other topics surrounding that event. Not only the tragedy that is the mass shooting, but the response to it, the cultural indoctrination being perpetrated because of this, or being justified by such an event. Of course, we're going to be checking in with the military-industrial complex. Very, very interesting PR campaign going on. We're going to deconstruct some analysis of what that means for the next generation of American. Then after the break, we're going to be checking in with COVID, going to be checking in with some mosquitoes, and then, of course, some 4 horsemen of the technocalypse, really just getting in there, making a scene. And we'll end out the show with some Antarctica news and a Nephilim update. But first, Gonz, let's start out with our lead stories.
We need a great reset.
Learn to use the dark side of the Force.
Mm-hmm. Starting out, big news for some. Other people just don't understand. This is coming from FoxNews.com. This is an outlet I wanted to sort of bring regarding this story, because if any outlet would have more to say about the Georgia Guidestones, any mainstream outlet rather, it would be Fox. Well, let's hear the headline. Georgia Guidestones explosion. Blast has destroyed a large portion of the monument, police say. And it reads like this. Police in Georgia are investigating an explosion Wednesday targeting the Georgia Guidestones monument, which the state says is known as, quote, America's Stonehenge. The state says that, huh? All right. The early morning blast, quote, destroyed a large portion of the structure in northeastern Elbert County. According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, quote, the preliminary information indicates that unknown individuals detonated an explosive device around 4 a.m. on Wednesday, July 6th. The agency said in a statement. The Elbert County Sheriff's Office is among the law enforcement agencies investigating, and a bomb squad has been called to the scene. According to Fox 5 Atlanta. Now, yeah, he gets some bomb squad robots. Quote, known as America, this is a great quote. Quote, known as America's Stonehenge, this 19-foot high monument displays a 10-part message espousing the conservation of mankind and future generations in 12 languages, according to a description of the state of Georgia's tourism website. The site is about 7 miles north of Elberton, near the South Carolina state line. Granite quarrying is a top local industry, which was just kind of a fun little detail. I don't know if they have a word count that they were trying to hit a quota for, but it was just kind of a fun little detail. Hey, also, they mine granite around there. Oh, fascinating. The roadside attraction received renewed attention during Georgia's May 24th gubernatorial primary when third-place Republican candidate Candace Taylor claimed the Guidestones are satanic and made demolishing them a part of her platform. Quote, the Guidestones also serve as an astronomical calendar, and every day at noon the sun shines through a narrow hole in the structure and illuminates the day's date on an engraving, the tourism website also said. Sounds like Fox News just kind of went on their website to fill their article here. Quote, the names of 4 ancient languages are inscribed on the side near the top: Babylonian, cuneiform, classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphics, it added. Quote, the Guidestones are mysterious in origin,
No, they're
For
not.
no one knows
No.
the identity of a group of sponsors who provided its specifications. Mystery, shrouded in mystery, the American Stonehenge.
For those who are not familiar, there was a documentary made by Chris Pinto. It featured our friend Dr. Future, Mike Bennett. And I know they had some tensions in the background there, but both gentlemen, I believe, are fine researchers and brothers in Christ. There's a documentary called Dark Clouds Over Elberton, the true story of the Georgia Guidestones. And they uncovered a lot in that documentary. I don't know why it doesn't get talked about more. Maybe it's because it was made by independent Christians and not like Alex Jones or something. But
you're talking about the documentary.
The documentary, yeah. They uncovered R.C. Christian, which basically was a guy who was a Rosicrucian. And there were some interesting things that they uncovered in the documentary, going into guys' shed and opening suitcases with documents. It's pretty intensive. So to say that we don't know is sort of lazy, I would say.
Well, what I love about this reporting from Fox is every piece of information that they really give on the Georgia Guidestones is just taken from the website of the Tourism Council of Georgia. So, when they say it's so mysterious, it was mysterious until researchers figured it out. But, it's all part of the touristy part of the attraction.
Well, plus,
even calling it America's Stonehenge is hilarious because Stonehenge, the original one, is like thousands of years old or something.
Right.
And this one's like, I don't know,
30 years old.
Yeah,
what year was
built
it?
During our lifetime.
Well, it was 1979, I think, was when the plan started. So, about.
Well, that's when the plan started. Who knows when it was actually erected? We could probably look it up on Wikipedia if we wanted. But for those who are unfamiliar with the types of commandments, you get the 10 commandments of, saving humanity written on different sides of the pillars here. Number 1, probably the most alarming, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. So right there, right off the bat, the Guidestones, the guiding principles start with, kill 80% of all humans.
or at least maintain a level that's much less than it is now. So yes, they failed. They weren't able to follow the guide.
You want to run the math on that real quick? 500 million. What is that? The percentage of our current?
There's 7
we're at like 8 billion.
Are we at 8 now?
I don't know.
Let me do some math.
While you do that math, I'll look this up. Number 2 is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Oopsies.
16x. So 1/16 is about 500 million. So
what's percentage wise of 1/16?
Percentage wise,
got to be under 20%. Way under 20%.
Yeah.
6%. So we need to eliminate 94% of humanity.
Yeah, there you go.
Number 2 is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. A little bit of eugenics there. You gotta choose wisely. 3, unite humanity with a living new language. Who knows what that means? 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Okay, so you got to be robots. 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Okay, seems reasonable, I guess. 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. WEF, anyone?
Yeah.
7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. I think we can all agree with that one. Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. That one's just unremarkable. 9, prize truth, beauty, and love, seeking harmony with the infinite. 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Okay. Okie dokie. So there you go. Those are the types of things. Of course, the first few are the ones that really alarm those who are paying attention. Of course, eliminating 94% of humanity is a bit of a problem. Institutionalized eugenics, historically been a bit of a problem, and et cetera, et cetera. And it seems like somebody took things into their own hands. Gonz, 4 a.m. Somebody set off some sort of explosive. You can see the pictures. Damage kind of throughout. However, one of the 4 main pillars completely destroyed.
Yes.
I
find this whole thing very interesting, very suspicious, obviously. There have been attempts to not destroy it necessarily, but vandalize it in the past.
There's been vandalism, the black goo. Somebody had thrown black goo on it. And
there was like a corner of it that was chipped off and stuff. So it's an ongoing thing. I find it very interesting that Fox News, it's almost like they don't know what to do with it, because they have that line in there about the politician, who is it? Georgia's Republican candidate Candace Taylor, claiming the Guidestones are satanic and made demolishing them part of her platform. That just sets her up as being the culprit for this, or at least her sentiment.
Well, and whether or not it's tied to her directly, what it does is it frames the explosion, the desecration of the monument, as a politically motivated event, which means it's being sort of it could, if that continues, if that sort of framing of it continues, it could be considered terrorism. If they are able to connect it to politics like that.
I normally, and we always talk about this, how themes emerge as we put together episodes, and it's been a few days. Obviously, 4th of July, there's a lot that happened there, but the sentiment I get and the feeling I get and just the takeaway from all this feels to me, and again, this is just my opinion, that the counterculture, the rebellion, so to speak, is being stoked, very much so. And this sort of event, you're going to see a lot of anti-WEF, anti-New World Order types rejoice over this. Like, down with the thing. And that's exactly the reaction that's probably, welcomed in the political atmosphere. And I think it extends beyond just the U.S., but it does feel like they are grooming, so to speak, the civil war that is
population,
kind of a global war that is brewing here, because there are a lot of people that have learned about the Great Reset and Klaus and all this kind of stuff in the last couple of years, and I think people, now that stuff like this is starting to happen, we're reaching a threshold, like a tipping point, where the public at large, the mainstream especially, can start labeling these events as some kind of terrorist activity or whatever. The
media is doing it for them, and they just grab onto it. I think it's interesting. I gotta give a shout out to a quiet watcher in Twitch. Says, what if blowing it up was someone's version of artistic expression? Come on, is that not a legitimate form of protest? Destroying a monument that is offensive to your politics?
There's a biblical precedent to some of that too, destroying high places. So again, it could be used in that religious context to justify property damage.
Even politically, I mean, you saw in 2020 during the sort of Black Lives Matter era of 2020, destroying monuments, taking down statues, these types of things. So I don't know why this would be any different, but okay. Also, obviously, I'm not encouraging anybody to destroy anything. No, it's not what I'm here to do, but it is a pretty interesting juxtaposition. Now, it is also funny to note, I mean, the Georgia Guidestones, for those in a certain population in the U.S. interested in certain topics, like you said, would rejoice at this at the explosion of such a
satanic temple,
satanic monument. But there's not many people. I haven't heard anybody been like, "No, we love the Georgia Guidestones." There's not really. I haven't seen it. Have you seen any like blue check marks on Twitter? Just like, what a horrible event. That monument means so much to me and my family.
Well,
it kind of gives them away as some sort of Masonic.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine there is something. Just that one line from that Fox article, which, by the way, it does speak into that flipperoo, where CNN and these other guys are more friendly to the Republican side of the aisle, whereas Fox may be giving bait to the liberal side.
Right.
That line is bait right there. It's like, see, Republican, even Fox said it.
Yeah,
So,
especially since, so many of the violence perpetrated in the nation recently has been attributed to Republicans. So, of course, it's like, see, Republicans, they want to destroy your monuments. Yeah. Speaking of destroying monuments and traditions over here at the DailySignal.com, there was another switch up over the weekend or over the 4th. And it says here, for July 4th, NPR ditches Declaration of Independence. At National Public Radio, the document that effectively created the United States is out. Predictably, this is a conservative outlet, by the way. Predictably, this year, the left-wing media churned out a drumbeat of pieces about why Independence Day isn't so great for one reason or another. It's an annual tradition, so no surprise. The left had a bad month at the Supreme Court, so we now have to hear about how democracy is over and America is doomed. This year's popular gripe was that the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization overturning Roe v. Wade is reason to stop celebrating America. Now that Americans can choose to limit or prohibit abortion, the 4th of July deserved to be canceled. It seemed that for some of our countrymen, patriotism stems from always getting your way. If left-wing publications want to go with this message, that's fine. At least we know where they stand. But why is it coming from national, publicly funded media? National Public Radio, or NPR, had a long-standing tradition in which hosts read the Declaration of Independence every 4th of July. NPR kept this going for 33 years.
America!
Until this Independence Day.
Of course. Of course.
And they have a blue checkmark, Leela Fidel from NPR here. It's a tweet. This July 4th, we break with tradition. Instead of a reading of the Declaration of Independence, NPR Inskeep examines what equality means and has meant in this document. Important segment about our past and future, produced by Mark blah blah blah. In 2022, NPR instead opted for a commentary segment on the Morning Edition show to talk about equality. This ended up you gotta love these conservative publications here. They put equality in quotes. So it's not equality as you'd find it in the dictionary, but as is defined by whoever they're making fun of. This ended up being mostly a discussion about racism and the end of Roe v. Wade, and included an obligatory shot at Republicans. Quote, many of our debates on this July 4th turn on what equality means, what voting rules really give equal access to the ballot. Do abortion laws give a woman equal control of her body? At what point is a fetus entitled to equal rights? NPR host Steve Inskeep said. Inskeep then said Republicans want unequal voting power.
Yada, yada, yada.
And then it goes in.
We get it.
Yeah, so 33 years. What good timing for them to hold a tradition and then drop it right on its head.
Makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. I just found this, just to throw it in, to go back to the Guidestones for a moment. Candace Taylor's video, her campaign video about demolishing the Guidestones. Do you want to take a look real quick?
Sure.
Let's see if we can play this video. Give me 1 second as I... internet. Okay, Internet. Da-da-da. Here we go. Come on, play.
What they wanted to do. Some might even say they had to get our permission.
Ooh. Some of that accent.
To at least tell us ahead of time. Even if we didn't believe them.
Very intense.
Over 4 billion people have been injected with something that took just 9 months to create.
We're going to get canceled.
Ask yourself why.
It's doing a pan of the Guidestones.
Back in biblical times, human sacrifice was a form of demonic worship. We're still doing it.
I was going to say,
present day, by
still
killing our unborn. It's the same demons. It's the same sacrifice. It's the same sin. It's just a different time.
this is a long shot in and of itself, running for governor against an incumbent.
Okay.
Why are you?
All right.
It's very abortion-centric.
Yeah.
They'll give a stat about abortion and then show the Georgia Guidestone sort of eugenics command. And
I think that's
so
her
this was
standing in front of the Guidestones, too. I think they're driving to it, and they're doing a little video shot of her standing there in front of it. So
interesting. Yeah, and that's at the end of that, she says her executive order would be destroy the Georgia Guidestone. Executive order number 10.
Demolish the Georgia Guidestones. Wow. Okay. I think this is definitely part of the stoking of the Civil War narrative. And yeah, you got to have a side start to break stuff. Just like how the Democrats, I mean, think about the Republican right-wing conservative movement exploding in the climate of Black Lives Matter, riots in the streets, everything else. I mean, conservatism really, I mean, media, all that stuff went huge, especially in the light of Trump losing the election. So
you're talking about the pendulum swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it so interesting that the Georgia Guidestones would to hold such a special place in this in any sort of political campaign.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was a liberal candidate who one of their like main focuses to get elected would be destroy a monument. I mean, we know that there's a lot of
statue talk.
The liberal side of things, they're generally in favor of taking down statues they don't like. But I wonder if it's made it just straight up into a campaign video. How long is that campaign video, by the way? I was
20.
expecting like a 30-second.
Minute 50, actually. Yeah.
That's pretty long. That's a long thing. Okay, well, there you go.
Yep. I think the greater theme here is the downfall of America, as we saw signaled over the weekend. And going back to that article that we read about the 33 years NPR not reading the Declaration of Independence. It's fascinating to me that there is a movement, both nationally and internationally, of the pushback against the World Economic Forum, the New World Order, everything that we've been talking about over the last 10 years is now maybe hijacked is too strong of a word, but it's come to a head where there's a critical mass where the population is aware of those issues. And now it's a polarizing issue where you can do the divide and conquer very powerfully at a world stage. And I bring it up also because I have this clip here from Anthony Pompliano. He's known as Pomp in the Bitcoin crypto world. And I bring it up because he had this video called Bitcoin is the Modern Declaration of Independence. And I want people to listen to this for a moment. It's about a minute and a half here that I clipped it down. And just want your thoughts on this, Basil.
Okay.
There you go.
You have to understand what the Declaration of Independence was doing. Bitcoin is a database of code, and it allows for any person to opt in to new monetary sovereignty. What it means is if you don't consent to the previous regime of governance, where a central bank can debase your currency unilaterally without your agreement, there's a lot of people who think that Bitcoin is the peaceful resistance to that lack of true agreeable governance. And so naturally, Bitcoin, when it was launched on January 3rd, 2009, marked the start of a new monetary regime. It has a programmatic monetary policy. It's transparently presented for anyone to audit at any time. If you are an individual anywhere in the world, regardless of sex, creed, gender, wealth, or status, you can opt in to a brand new monetary regime. You don't have to do it with 100% of your economic value, but you now have a path that allows you to conduct some sort of protection of your own assets. The United States of America and the private property rights of its citizens makes it one of the greatest countries in the world. Now Bitcoin is exporting these American ethos to people around the world and allowing them to have actual private property of their monetary assets, allowing them to peacefully resist against the debasement of their currency. Today, Bitcoin provides a different path. It allows for anyone to opt in and to participate in a brand new Declaration of Independence.
What do you think?
Interesting. Well, it's a whole thing. I mean, the original philosophy behind the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general is exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like many, philosophically sound beginnings, it's of course been sort of co-opted and either demonized or adopted by forces who wish to control it. So whether or not it is that currently, what he's saying has always been sort of the libertarian
ideal
the ideal, the philosophical root of Bitcoin. Yeah. But to call it a Declaration of Independence is quite a piece of rhetorical, passion.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there are aspects of it, but I think it's really interesting that by providing this sort of exit from the current monetary enslavement as part of the whole World Economic Forum, Great Reset, all that stuff is a mechanism where it's exactly mirroring the mark of the beast, where you can provide it to anybody in the world.
I don't know about exactly, but yeah, there's certainly been people who make that comparison.
I'm just saying in terms of, who it's available to, which is, it doesn't matter your economic, status, your race, your gender, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can access it. That's part of the mark of the beast.
Yeah, I didn't really think that was a very interesting point he made, though, because anybody can already get any currency they want, apparently, except for rubles right now.
I was going to say, there's a big sanction against the Ruskies. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard. Essentially anybody can get any currency they want around the world. You just go to a Forex, foreign exchange place and just get whatever money you want. It's not that, that was kind of the least compelling part, I think, of what he was mentioning. The thing that really Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general used to mean, what it used to stand for, is a medium of exchange not controlled by a central authority.
Right.
And you can expand that out as poetically as you want to make it mean it's the sort of American ethos. But I think it's interesting spiritually, because spiritually, we should not be connected. Like, what is the American ethos? It's, freedom. Freedom to make your own decisions, freedom from oppression of centralized governments.
Rights, as you said, yeah.
Property rights is a really big part of it. And that's what you would kind of generally call the American ethos. It's not necessarily an economic unit, an economic medium, Well,
that's
Bitcoin can be a part of
because,
that. But.
Well, that's interesting, too, because, property rights and Bitcoin being treated as property is fascinating because it does seem to promote a sort of, hey, you can be anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in America anymore to have the American ideal. You can be anywhere in the world, especially NATO nations.
It's our main export.
Yes.
America's main export is the sort of the ideology of the American ethos.
Right.
Which many people around the world, whether they're in America or not, think is a pretty cool product.
Right.
Problem is, it has become a product, and every product can be valued or devalued as is deemed necessary by the manufacturer.
Yeah. So you had a couple articles to sort of round out that point about the export of the United States ethos. And what I think is happening and Symbolic with the Georgia Guidestones is a sort of new civil war, like a tangible new civil war, not just within America, but I think it's going to resonate around the world. But it's some kind of American exodus, both, in terms of an export of an idea, perhaps, but also just literally, hey, there's other places that are better for the American dream.
Right. And it's, again, we've been talking about commodity valuation and Bitcoin being sort of idealized as a commodity by some, very important people who it would matter that they think that. It doesn't matter what we think, Gonz. We're just podcasters.
we're just mouth breathers, apparently.
And I referenced just a second ago the American, some might call it the American dream, the American ethos, things like that. I believe that it really is, can be described as a commodity. The value of it is controlled by, the market. Mm-hmm. And it's something that at this point, all around the world, everywhere, it doesn't matter where you go, people know when you say the American dream, they know exactly what you're talking about. And to some degree, they trade in that commodity. Yeah. And there was a wave of articles that came out over the weekend, and I picked a couple just to make the example that, now that America has exported this commodity around the world, and other countries in varying ways and in varying intensities have adopted the American dream as, a commodity in their country. And with that, much as how we've seen so many commodities either devalued or disrupted through supply chain or inflation, or even just the tinkerings of financial elites on Wall Street, we also see this communication, this trend going on. And this is part of what we do on the show. It's part of the importance of the show, in my opinion, that it's not just what does one article say. It is what is hovering in the air, being distributed to the population, not just of America, but of the world. And so here's a couple of examples of that. This one is in Time Magazine. Time Magazine, you may have heard of it. And there's this article here, Finding the American Dream in Canada.
Oh, Ooh. Canada. Mm-hmm. Justin's got freedom for us, man.
He's got the freedoms. And this is written sort of in from the perspective of a Muslim person. The author is Sophia Ali Khan, who's the author of A Good Country, My Life in 12 Towns and the Devastating Battle for a White America. So you can kind of see what's happening here. I'll read you an intro, and more or less you'll get the idea. This festive period for Muslims around the world, one Eid, or Muslim celebration, is just past, and another is coming up in July. I've left strings of starry lights in the tall windows of our family room where they can be seen twinkling from the street in our neighborhood outside of Toronto. There's a shadow box-like window by my front door where I'd hung a colorful garland of star ornaments at the start of Ramadan in April. I wasn't always willing to mark my family publicly as Muslim. In fact, we were 3 years into becoming Canadian when I first realized that I could put up lights for our celebrations without any of the trepidation I'd felt in my hometown in Pennsylvania. There is a huge contrast between being Muslim in Canada and being Muslim in America today, and it has a lot to do with Canada's decision to tell the truth about its history, while America buries its own. Yes, so America bad, Canada good. There was, let me get into some numbers here. Recent studies and surveys by the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, ISPU, tell us our concerns were justified. ISPU has been a boon to American Muslims who had previously lacked good data about themselves, helping us see more clearly how we're faring. In 2020, half of all Muslim parents reported having a school-age child who experienced bullying related to their religious identity in the previous year. In 2020, they said, so right before the pandemic. In almost a third of those cases, the perpetrator was a teacher or school official. Ooh. In 2021, Muslims reported experiencing institutional discrimination at levels much higher than other religious groups. For example, 25% of Muslims versus 5% among those of other religious affiliations reported religious discrimination while receiving health care. At the airport, And they don't go into exactly what that means either.
Just
because
numbers,
as we know, religious discrimination can mean a lot of things, especially in healthcare, where different religions either
there's some
reject
ban on some
they reject
substances
certain,
or whatever.
Exactly, like vaccinations, perhaps. If a organization is trying to vaccinate you and you say it's against my religious affiliation, and they say don't care, well, that's religious discrimination.
Yep.
At the airport, those figures are 44% for Muslims, contrasted with 5% of the general public. Applying for jobs, it's 33% for Muslims and 8% for the general public. And so they lay this all out. Long story short, come to Canada. Canada is more American than America. And, this is a great piece of PR for Canada. And Canada especially is an interesting one for the U.S. because that's where everybody threatens to go if their presidential candidate doesn't get elected. And that never happens. They never actually do it. It's just like a fun thing to say. I always wondered. I wonder what Canada thinks about that. All these Americans sort of threatening to go there, and then
I've seen a lot of "we don't want you here" kind of sentiment from a lot of the celebrities that peddled that sentiment there.
And this is all this entire thing is sort of revolving around how Canada is accepting their past, their history, all the horrible things that were done to the natives in Canada during the colonization by Europeans. But Canada just accepts it so much and is so good at talking about it and making it right. Whereas with America, they ignore slavery.
Even the teachers
we never talk about
against
slavery
the Muslims.
here.
Yeah.
So long story short, Canada good, America bad. Now, that could have just been a one-off, but we jump over here to the Atlantic, and the Atlantic has a headline, "What's better in Britain?" Yes, the roads are confusing, the food portions unambitious, the peanut butter not so good. But for this American, life in the UK has its compensations. And it's kind of goes through the same thing. This person has lived in Britain for 5 years, and it's so much better. And really, this is where the real American dream is happening. All my favorite celebrities live here. This is kind of an interesting. They talk about the. Well, let me read this one. To live as a foreigner here, talking about Britain, is to be in a constant state of learning British idiosyncrasies. An education that, as an American with, in theory, a language and a good deal else in common, I didn't fully expect to have to undertake. I'd assumed that my move from Washington, D.C. to London would be seamless, devoid of the culture shock and language barriers that I had experienced when I went to live in continental Europe and the Middle East. After all, the United States and Britain share many historical ties. You could say that.
I saw that and I thought, do you not know the history of the founding of America? It's sort of based on, saying,
certainly some very specific historical ties.
I mean, I guess you can call it share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the big point of this entire article is, hey, Americans, America and Britain are different. They're not the same. They're different. And let me tell you, Britain is better. It's more American than America because we don't have Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right. We don't have all these radicalized people to mess up our freedom or our democracy.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And there's a bunch of examples of basically how Republicans are mean. And so that's why you need to go to Britain.
Republicans are mean. Okay.
Republicans are mean, so move away. The American dream is elsewhere. And while it's kind of cringy to read these and listen to their, I'm not reading them for a reason.
Sure.
They're somewhat
Save us
boring.
all some sanity.
and make all the same points about why America's bad in other places. The whole point is the American dream as a commodity has been exported around the world. And so you can leave the U.S. and still have all the best parts about what you want, what you love about the U.S. Because the big message that we're hearing over and over and over and over, and the shooting over July 4th, as well as all the other shootings, and the pushback, the insanity that we haven't banned guns. Well, look, all these countries that banned guns, they're better than America. They have the American dream. They're more American than America.
This theme will play out throughout the episode, but yes, it's very obvious when you step back and look at it. And yeah, I think again, it speaks into this great American exodus, and we're being pushed out. And pay attention to the NATO countries, by the way. Both Canada and UK part of NATO, obviously. So, it'll be interesting to see the propaganda move in that direction of like all the NATO countries are safe and American ethos, whereas not so much in Russia. That's why we hate Russia and China, So that'll be a whole thing.
So the point is, you can get all the good things about America somewhere else, and you don't have the bad things. There was this one line here where they're talking about, what do you miss about America? And what they missed about America was ranch dressing and cold sweet tea. Not like the First Amendment, which no other country has, a constitutional command for free speech. The UK doesn't have it. Canada doesn't have it. None of that stuff. I mean, much less the Second Amendment. Don't even get them started on that. But no. I don't miss a legal guarantee to free speech. What I miss is ranch dressing and cold sweet tea. So there you go. If you're looking, if you're not happy with the America you live in, just go to Canada or Great Britain and you'll be fine.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the CanaryCry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
There are people in the chat who don't quite understand that they live in a country that doesn't have a constitutional right to free speech. Just because you haven't gotten busted for it doesn't mean they won't do it someday. It's called turnkey totalitarianism. Check it out, people.
Yep.
So how was your weekend, Gonz? We had a day off on 4th of July. You do anything fun?
Just spend time with family. Much needed time with family. And that was good, but also had a great sense of calling upon the producers.
Producers, assemble!
And just overwhelming sense of praying for the people of this country because,
of course,
man, it just felt like a turning point. I wasn't really paying attention to the news too much. But the little that I did, and inevitably you come across stuff, and I didn't want to dig in too much over the weekend, but it's just a sentiment I felt was, wow, we're really seeing the tearing apart of this country at a much more profound and rapid rate. So,
the thing that surprised me was the systematic aspect to it.
Yeah,
it's like a computer algorithm is being played. They
unleash the bots.
A script that is repeated over and over, some if-then statements, and then repeated all over again.
Yep.
It's very interesting to watch, and it's very effective.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing, fireworks. I don't know if you saw fireworks where you are, Basil, but we walk outside. I live kind of on a hill, so we can see different towns doing all their fireworks. Look at videos, social media, people blowing stuff up, and that's when I really felt it. I was like, you know what? We are blowing up this country. Literally, we're going to let like China or whoever, like Xi, saying, let them blow up themselves. That's kind of what's happening. And then, of course, the Georgia Guidestones blow up this morning. So everything, it's all coming together. In a bad way.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I do think it's funny, the Georgia Guidestone, the timing of it, because it's just enough time for someone to round up the unspent fireworks in their neighborhood.
Yes.
And put them all together.
I saw some horrific video of some families and stuff sitting there and things going wrong with the fireworks and blowing up and the whole deal.
Well,
so
we'll
I think
talk more about
there was a kid
that.
who got killed. I mean, the whole deal.
It happens. Oh, so you're not feeling any more optimistic then, are you?
No. I feel rejuvenated in the sort of just rest
your passion
aspect, my physical part of me, but not so much the mental is still in a dip.
Jazzed. You've been really jazzed all day. Even in the pre-show, we're trying to
really jazzed
get
about
the show ready, and you've been energized, my friend.
Yeah. Well, you don't do something. You don't work for a few days, especially this job, and it all piles up, and then yeah. So.
Well, I didn't see any fireworks. I took it pretty easy. I went to the water park, which was fun. We spent some time in the lazy river, and then I went and saw Top Gun.
All right.
Which I somehow avoided to do. Yeah, some Maverick, which was a wonderful way to stay cool during the late afternoon there.
Cool as in cool, not just cool, but cool.
Yeah, but aviator's cool.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about that movie, but I will say the one thing that really got me going was, in the big dogfight. It's the apex of the movie. The whole thing is, oh my gosh, this is the moment. And I'm out of missiles. I got to switch to guns. And Tom Cruise is shooting down, the fifth generation non-affiliated to any nation fighter. And he's shooting. You see his bullet count. It's getting lower and lower and lower. And how's he going to kill him? And he stops shooting his gun, and the bullet count stops at 33 bullets left.
Oh,
yeah.
There it is. Of course it does.
He has 33 bullets left, and he has one last chance to kill the bad guy. And boom, he does it with his last 33
He's like
bullets.
King David.
Mm-hmm.
Beating Goliath with the 33rd
well, not
bullet.
King yet. Yeah, exactly. So that's fun. Yeah, not a bad movie. It's good. People should see it if they haven't seen it, but mainly just for that moment.
Sure.
Other than that, it just keeps getting hotter, man. It's hot around here.
Hey, global warming, bro. It's actually cooled off here in California. So it's been an interesting last couple of days, and it hasn't been as hot. So
yeah, well, it has not gotten any cooler around here. But let's see here. You know who is cool? Our executive producers.
Yeah, they are.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, baby. No corporate money whatsoever. We are entirely free from the corporate incentives that, tend to lure in independent podcasters and replace that independence with the need to be brand friendly and communicate the brainwashing messages of big corporations. But not here. We're entirely funded by our listeners. They're called producers, and executive producers are those who come in hot, baby, to celebrate the continuation of independence, not just for our country, but the independence of their media deconstruction. And so we like to thank them now. Although, Gonz, just like the destruction of independence in our country, we have no executive producers today serving the
destruction of the Canary Cry podcast has begun.
We'll see. We'll see. So no executive producers quite yet, folks. But if anybody is feeling inspired and grateful for the rare notion that media, specifically news, can be delivered outside of the realm of advertising, which is simply a reflection of corporations' desire to rule our minds, to psychologically manipulate us into purchasing things we don't need with money we don't have, especially at a time like this, then you can head on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. There's still time to support the show, and we'll see. We'll see if we have any Mel Gibson-esque patriots run to our aid and save us from, well, the British. The British are taking us down, man. And with that in mind, You know who else is British? It's Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
I was wondering where you're going to go with that. You're cornered a little bit.
Flippy's British, apparently, is what we're dealing with here. Yes, Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and, you guessed it, flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, this is coming from Boston.com. I thought that was, that was relevant.
Yeah, Boston Robotics.
For 4th of July. Yeah, you've got Boston Robotics, but you've also got Boston Tea Party. Yeah. Boston, a very historically important city in our nation's freedom.
My wife just actually visited Boston for a business trip, and she was appalled. She was like, the people are so mean. I'm like, no. It's just it's just the way they talk.
That's what it takes to make break free from the imperial grasp.
And she was very startled at the aggressive nature of the people.
Yeah.
And she said they were nice, but they were just very aggressive. So.
You're not going to get, if the freedom of our country was left up to Southern Californians, we'd all be eating bangers and mash.
Come
all
on
day
in.
long.
Have some hamburgers.
Can't we just do some yoga about it?
Let's just go surfing, bruh. Okay.
Okay, the headline, Robot Dog Patrols Boston Esplanade Ahead of 4th Activities. A bomb-detecting robot built by Boston Dynamics was spotted patrolling the Esplanade Friday in anticipation of July 4th activities. The Boston Pops Fireworks Spectacular will return to the Hatch Memorial Shell on Charles River Esplanade on Monday after a 3-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Police are taking extra security measures for the event. A 3-year. How does that work? So you don't do it in 20. You don't do it in 2021, and we're doing it on 2022. So that's 2 years. They only missed 2 years, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's all right. We're moving forward. Police are taking extra security measures for the event, which is the first large-scale 4th of July celebration the city's seen since 2019. Authorities said they plan to provide security by land, air, and water. State police told NBC Boston that the 6-month-old bomb squad robot's name is Roscoe and will be part of Monday's security measures. And they've got a little video here. We got Roscoe. We got a tweet from Kirsten Glavin, who says, nightmare fuel. Come on, think of an original thing to say about the robot dog. Roscoe is a bomb squad robot. He is 6 months old. So he's a puppy. Called Spot and made by Boston Dynamics. Massachusetts State Police have 2 of these, and I'm told they will be assisting with 4th of July safety at the Hatch Shell on Monday. According to CBS Boston, the State Police bomb squad has 2 of the robots, which can climb stairs, traverse. We know what the dog can do. As part of Monday's security measures, visitors are asked to carry as few items as possible and prohibited from bringing alcohol, glass containers, etc., etc. So this was very interesting. Obviously, security is a big concern just in general in our country right now. Of course, anytime large groups are getting together, security has always been even more of a concern. This was written on July 2nd by Morgan Rousseau. And so 2 days before 4th of July, they are reporting about this bomb-detecting robot. Now, in this country and across the world, but in this country especially, there's this cute little industry called security theater. And security theater is, well, just what it looks like. It's meant to look like it is providing security to make people feel safer. Whether or not the data it actually shows that they are safer is usually not important. Much of our, TSA, airport security, this is all just security theater, as has been proven time and time again. But now, we are working in, as is not necessarily brand new, but the idea that the robots will be playing a a pivotal role, not just in security, but security theater. I think really, really does a wonderful job at getting to the essence of how these robots are being used. There's something about the novelty of security robots that boosts the impression of safety more than any person ever could. And I think part of it, going to the theater aspect, is that it's so novel. It's so fascinating. It's so entertaining. Because if you had a bomb squad, dudes in big, the big teddy bear suits that keep them safe as they look for bombs or whatever, or even regular dogs, everybody loves dogs, but, police dogs can be scary. They're trained to kill. But you get a little punk, little robot dog walking around. Oh my gosh, I feel so safe. Certainly this robot is capable of keeping me safer than simply a meat dog or a man in a big teddy bear costume. And I think we'll see this more and more and more. We saw it quite a bit during COVID, where robots were suddenly in charge of keeping everybody safe from a virus. Another beautiful piece of theater. They should get a Tony for that one. But now becoming more of a regular a regular actor in the security theater. We got Spot, baby. He's on the roll.
Yep. I think you touched on all the points there. The illusion of safety and the excuse for more surveillance all over the world. And we've been talking about this forever. I think people that have been listening know or get it now. But if you're new, we've been talking about. At this point,
we're just making a list for you.
But it's so obvious now that everything that happens, the solution is being funneled to more surveillance. We need to watch. Right. We need to pay attention to these people that are troublesome or whatever. And what better way than some cute robots that, if you're not here to harm anybody, then you shouldn't have a problem with just a bunch of weird looking robots walking around. They're here for your safety, people, not to take over. At least that's what they tell us.
Well, and lastly, it's interesting because they don't talk about at all how this dog is equipped. It is a normal Spot that we've seen. It has 360-degree cameras. It has an arm, it has the robotic arm. But as far as like sniffing out a bomb or scanning, X-ray vision, blah, 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 I have no idea. I have no idea because they haven't told us. And I have not heard of any special technology.
So they must, right? It says bomb squad in one of the videos on the side, state police bomb squad.
But what technology would this robot have that a human could not do better, or because a robot dog sniffs explosives, can find it. This dog is just a regular Spot with a robot arm.
How dare you?
It's no more
Basil
effective at
Rosewater.
actually finding a bomb than a regular dog. It's just complete theater. And again, just meant to normalize the idea that having robots patrol our streets is for our own safety. Please do not be alarmed.
Safety.
You are being rescued.
Oh yeah, I remember that ISO. I can't get to it now.
We got it somewhere. We got to find it. But so there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day.
Go to CanaryCry.Party. Avoid those robots. Find all the ways to watch the show, listen to the show, connect with the community, share the podcast, and even produce the show.
Welcome to CanaryCry.Party. It's the place you wanna be. So say, welcome to CanaryCry. Gameplay, CanaryCry.Party.
That's right, CanaryCry.Party, all the stuff you want. And while you're there, you can check out Ravel. It's a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. He's a PhD in biblical interpretation. We explore society, scripture, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. And we've got all sorts of wonderful episodes out there for you. I highly recommend you check it out. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which I highly recommend you do as well. You'll get the art and all of our sources for every episode sent directly to your inbox.
Come on, we need 90 more subscribers on that Canary Cry Clips channel to hit 1,000.
To hit 1,000? Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. It's a young channel, so we're very happy with how people have been responding and enjoy it. But yeah, getting to 1,000 would be really nice. Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey, both of them. The Odyssey, I will say this, you should subscribe to both, because there are things that we cannot post on YouTube without losing the channel. So the Canary Cry Clips YouTube has all sorts of fantastic resources for you. It's this show just clipped out into smaller, shareable, careable clips. But if you follow the Odyssey as well, you'll get some of the more not safe for YouTube clips. And while you're at it, join our text message alert system. You'll never miss a show. You just got to text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's 877-740-3226. Ba-boom.
Are you proposing taking away their guns?
Yes.
Enough prayers. Time for some action.
You want to take everyone's guns away.
Bingo. Enough prayers. Time for some action.
We're going to take your AR-15.
We're not going to give up. We'll find you.
We'll find you.
I think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests.
Yeah. Good joke, Biden.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get to it here. This is Reuters.com, and the headline, July 4 parade shooting suspect slipped past Illinois red flag safeguards. And obviously there's a lot going on. Obviously, you know, the shooting happened, and of course the online world exploded with all kinds of things everywhere. And there's a lot of triggering happening on all sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
And but let's just see real quick. Let's just run through this and go through a bit of a timeline.
There's some details that we need to talk about.
Sure. Highland Park, July 5th. A man charged with killing 7 people at a Chicago area July 4th parade slipped past the safeguards of an Illinois red flag law designed to prevent people deemed to have violent tendencies from getting guns, officials revealed on Tuesday. The disclosures raised questions about the adequacy of the state's red flag laws, even as a prosecutor lauded the system as strong during a news conference announcing 7 first-degree murder charges against the 21-year-old suspect.
21. They're always 18 to 21.
Somebody reported 22, but okay. Robert
I saw that too.
Yeah.
His age seems to change a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to that. But
continuing here, Sergeant Chris Covelli of the Lake County Sheriff's Office said earlier in the day that Cremo had legally purchased a total of 5 guns, including the suspected murder weapon, despite having come to law enforcement's attention twice.
Always the case, isn't it?
Twice for
this
behavior.
Keeps happening.
For behavior suggesting he might harm himself or others. I mean, it's almost like clockwork. At this point, people,
single one of these guys have been known to law enforcement. They were dangerous to the community. They were surrounded by people who knew that they were dangerous, and yet nobody did anything about it.
And again, this is part of the sort of worldview, narrative, whatever you want to call it, with these shootings that has been pointed out for a long time, but now there's like a critical mass. I think a lot of people are realizing, hey, wait a minute, how come every single one of these guys has some kind of prior run-in? The first instance was in April 2019. Emergency 911 call reporting Cremo had attempted suicide, followed in September of that year by a police visit regarding alleged threats to kill everyone, quote unquote, that he had directed at family members, Covelli said. Which, you know, troubled teenagers can say stuff like that.
Same with Uvalde, though.
Same with Uvalde, you're right. According to Covelli, police responding to the second incident seized a collection of 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword from Cremo's home in Highland Park, Illinois, the Chicago suburb where the shooting occurred on Monday. But no arrest was made as authorities at the time lacked probable cause to take him into custody, the sheriff's sergeant said. Quote, there were no complaints that were signed by any of the victims, Covelli explained. Later on Tuesday came a separate statement from the Illinois State Police recounting that the agency had received a report from Highland Park Police declaring Cremo a, quote, clear and present danger after the alleged threats against relatives in September 2019. At the time, however, Cremo did not possess a state, quote, firearm owner's identification, or FOID card that could be revoked, or a pending FOID application to deny. So state police involvement in the matter was closed, the agency said. State police also said no relative or anyone else was willing to, quote, to move forward with a formal complaint or to provide, quote, information on threats or mental health that would have allowed law enforcement to take additional actions. And it goes into the background check here. 3 months later, at age 19, Cremo applied for his first FOID under his father's sponsorship, but because no firearm restraining order or other court actions against Cremo had ever been sought, quote, there was insufficient basis to establish a clear and present danger and deny the FOID application. Cremo passed 4 background checks in the purchase of his guns, all of them conducted in 2020 and 2021. Well after the 2019 incident. Well after? It's like a few months after, it sounds like, 2020. And it was September 2019 that drew police attention, according to the state police. The state police said the only offense detected in Cremo's criminal history during background checks was for unlawful possession of tobacco in 2016, and that had, quote, no mental health prohibitor reports. And then later here, state police said that when officers who visited the family's home over the alleged threats Cremo made in 2019, they asked him, quote, if he felt like harming himself or others, and that, quote, he responded no. Of course, when the police comes and you're, 18 or 17 or something, you're going to say that. Quote, additionally and importantly, the father claimed the knives were his and they were being stored in his son's closet for safekeeping, end quote, state police said. Quote, based upon that information, the Highland Park police returned the knives to the father.
Where's a better place to hide your knives than your young, violent son's closet?
This is an indictment against parents in terms of the mainstream narrative. Parents aren't good enough. They're not going to be able to prevent these shooters. The red flag laws, not good enough.
You've been kind of on that part of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been saying that.
Part really bugs you.
Yeah. So this is all very useful. And then it ends the article here. A number of U.S. politicians in both parties have urged more widespread enactment and enforcement of red flag laws, which typically enable courts to issue restraining orders allowing authorities to confiscate firearms from individuals or to prevent them from buying weapons when they are deemed to pose a significant threat to themselves or others. But Reinhart, the state attorney who charged Cremo on Tuesday, was at a loss to explain how Cremo could be permitted to legally obtain weapons without the alleged 2019 threat and, quote, clear and present danger report triggering the state's red flag measures. Congress last month passed a national gun reform bill, including provisions to provide federal funding to states that administer red flag statutes. So that's the big takeaway,
Right.
obviously, is red flag, not good enough. And, but obviously there's a lot of other stuff going on here with this, but that's the political front anyway.
Well, there is a political case to be made for this because of the legislation that was passed, the gun control legislation that was generally deemed basically harmless,
right?
Or at least maybe not harmless,
just not really moving the needle in terms of an actual, ineffective.
Right,
good word.
Which included a relatively small budget for states to help enforce a bit of a check mark in the good job giving them money to do better with their red flag laws. Because what we have here is a red flag law that was ineffective and it was unenforced. And so, those who passed the gun legislation last month can say, see, this is an example of why money needs to be available to enforce these red flag laws. Again, I mean, the parallels from the Uvalde shooting are explicit. You've got a young man, almost the same age range. We're working in an 18 to 22 age range with all of these young men. Not only that, but being known to police, both of them, and more, by the way. But both of them known to police, both of them violent, both of them not only having on the books, violent interactions with the police and family members, but also on the books, social media, violence, twisted, perceptions of what is cool and what constitutes being put on social media. I mean, what's not in this article, but is in many others. This guy was a rapper, and not like a famous rapper, but, he had a pretty significant amount of downloads on Spotify. And, his fan club on Facebook had 200 people in it or something, so not much going on there. But he had produced a number of music videos, and it's kind of this along the same lines. His music videos are violent. One of them is all based on like how he wants to shoot up a school. The other one, he's shooting. It's all very clear what's going on. The persona he's putting off, his whole thing. I mean, it's all very violent, very twisted. He's obviously a risk. Well, not obviously a risk, but he obviously has. He was troubled. He was a troubled young man. Yeah, he's a troubled individual. Now, of course, this is always the danger because you don't want to mess with First Amendment. I mean, that's protected speech, creating that kind of material in a music video format. But it's obvious that there was something going on here. Notably, his, has Instagram photos where has a Trump flag, and he's on a boat with an American flag. These are the things being shown on a lot of the articles, just to prove that he's a Republican and the Republicans are dangerous. One detail now, if for those who don't know the details of the mass shooting, he had posted up on a roof and was basically fired into a crowd with what they're calling, of course, high-powered rifles, which is just a rifle that shoots either a NATO round or a .223, AR style type of thing. I had actually for a moment made a note of the actual weapons he had, but the thing that got me, that was another fascinating parallel to Uvalde, was he had brought with him two rifles. One for each hand. One for each hand. Now, I think this is interesting because if you are kind of a regular kid who's just obsessed and troubled and wants to commit violence for whatever reason, it makes sense to get one rifle. You have a rifle, you bring your rifle, you do crime. But to bring two rifles has this very strange sort of tactical advantage to it that I have a hard time believing would be such a parallel between these two shootings. They both had two rifles. Why in the world do you bring two rifles? Well, tactically, you just bring one in case one jams. You don't want to get caught having to, take it apart and make it work again in the field while you're trying to commit crime. So you just drop the one that jammed and you have the other one. But this is not something that would normally occur to like a troubled person. And that's, I think, part of why a lot of the, whatever you call it, rumors or conspiracies or pontifications about, the more sinister, secretive MK Ultra type stuff. I also do believe that there is something that's not being talked about, which is it is known that the troll farms in China and Russia, which they do have troll farms, we have troll farms too, but especially with China, they've been come out and outright said, yeah, we want to sort of subtly disrupt the U.S. population from the inside out. And part of that is by encouraging violence, finding troubled Americans online and promoting or encouraging them to do nasty things. Now, this is obviously not just in the benefit of our adversaries geopolitically, but of course, we've seen this on record be done by the FBI. So that is, of course, always an option as well. Just a lot of strange things, Gonz.
Yeah, so this Fox... Just read the headline here. Highland Park July 4th shooting suspects' parents were a problem, says former coach. So
they always are, aren't they?
And then there's a New York Post article where apparently he was kicked out of a Jewish synagogue during Passover. Mm-hmm. It's weird because the New York Post doesn't really get into a whole lot here. It's almost like
doesn't say for what reason he was kicked out. No reason.
Just he was in there. He was suspicious. The rabbi kicked him out. It's like, okay,
yeah,
all right, is that
probably
supposed to
smart.
be white Is that the white supremacy narrative that they're trying to push or something?
He's a terrorist.
Well, obviously. NPR, obviously this mobilized the politicians on the left. Harris calls for renewing the assault weapons ban after Highland Park mass shooting. So that's no surprise, obviously. But this was really interesting because of the nature. You talk about the bot farm or the troll farms and all that kind of stuff. This is from Daily Dot. And the headline here is Conspiracy Theorists Blame Highland Park Shooting on a CIA Mind Control Experiment. And again, it doesn't help that the rapper name of Robert E. Cremo III was Awake the Rapper. And the music video you're talking about is called Are You Awake? I mean, can you not? It sounds like a Face Like the Sun video or something. It's
troublesome.
I don't like it. I don't like that they're using that. But anyway, here's what it says. 6 people were killed in a mass shooting on July 4th. Yada, yada, yada. Another 38 were injured. Police apprehended the alleged shooter. It says here 22-year-old Robert E. Cremo III hours later. Officials haven't revealed the motive for the killing. Theories abound, however, many based on Cremo's social media footprint, which NBC News reported includes violent and graphic depictions of murder, suicide, and death. Some of these posts include dramatizations of Cremo or someone else committing mass murder and being killed by police. One particularly prevalent and false conspiracy theory holds that Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, brainwashed Cremo. A fake Instagram post appears to have inspired...
I'm glad that they had enough information
they just go right into it. Yeah, just all assumptions there, but okay.
Good to know the CIA didn't brainwash this guy.
A fake Instagram post appears to have inspired the theory. No, the Instagram post wasn't the inspiration of the theory. It just stoked those who have been pointing it out, but okay. Or maybe even discredited or attempted to discredit those who have been pointing it out. Inspired the theory that Cremo was in MK Ultra, a Cold War
he
era
was
CIA.
in
He was
MK
in
Ultra,
He was
huh?
in MK Ultra. Nice
Never
straw
heard it
man.
described that way. It's almost like whoever is writing this doesn't actually fully know what MK Ultra is.
I mean, technically in the books, in the paper trail of the U.S. government that's publicly released, the program ended in the 70s or whatever, but we know that it's
and they love
ongoing.
to point that out.
Yeah,
that's
they
their
don't
point.
talk
They're
about
like,
that.
no, he's not MK Ultra because that ended in the 70s.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
MK Ultra, the Cold War era CIA program that utilized torture and psychedelic drugs in an effort to control subjects' minds. Yeah, we don't do that individually. We do it societally now with social
We didn't
media.
just simply take the lessons learned from MK Ultra and then just rename them under a different project name and disseminate them through the population. No.
So-
it ended in the 70s.
So the screenshot in question here is of Robert E. Cremo III wearing a very futuristic one-band shades, I guess, white hat, and then on the the description of the
This is
Instagram
hilarious.
post,
The caption.
says, Robert _Cremo _III, Robert Cremo III. Yes, I am a product of MK Ultra, and I am a liberal. Now this caused
I am
an
MK
uproar.
Ultra and I am a liberal. This is a totally real post.
It worked, man. Did you on Twitter the amount of sort of right-wing conservatives that were peddling this and like, oh look, he says he's a liberal. He says he's part of MK Ultra. It totally worked. There was a bunch
They
of people.
love taking the bait, man.
Oh
they
my
take
gosh,
the bait
so
every
easy.
single time.
So easy. There are back to the Daily Dot. There are several other indicators that the post is fake. Most telling, this is the most telling, Basil.
Oh, okay.
Is that the MK Ultra program ended in the 1960s, decades
the
before
most
Cremo was
telling.
born. Further, the CIA abandoned it upon concluding that it isn't possible to control someone's mind. Oh, really?
Much journalism. Such wow. Good job.
Yeah, and then they talk about Trump, 'cause, Trump.
Yeah.
And then they talk about Ben Shapiro, conspiracy theorists.
What did he have? They're getting into the conspiracy theorists. Okay.
Yeah,
Come on.
MK Ultra is trending, and then they quote a bunch of MK Ultra, tweets basically. So yeah, very useful, very unsurprising, and to me, it's almost like I don't even care who did this, if it was a troll thing or if it was meant to be, because
Either
ultimately
way.
it is useful to control the narrative, to to discredit those who would have genuine concerns about this type of behavior from our intelligence agencies, which we know have been ongoing for such a long time. And it's not, calling it the CIA is somewhat of a misdirection, I can say, because it's not exactly the CIA. It's just, people in the intelligence agencies, people in high places of government and power and influence. It could be the FBI, it could be any of these people, but it's not really, that's kind of the front. That's what we say linguistically to identify these people, but it goes beyond just the CIA. But
yeah, absolutely. Now, and of course, people might be screaming and shouting out there going, hey, Basil and Gonz, obviously there's something deeper going on here. And we are agreeing with you. There is something going on here. And in addition to whatever else is going on, again, we have a failure on so many levels, not just to adequately recognize a dangerous person, even when they are brought to the attention of law enforcement. There is a failure of the community or whoever is around this person to intervene accordingly if obviously he was deemed a real threat. There is also a spiritual issue where this fella, not to say that he was a nothing burger as far as a rapper, but also not to say he was some sort of even working musician, but had enough attention on his material and enough encouragement from the online community to continue to create content that glorified these things, gave an outlet to these things, and ultimately, I think, played a role in carrying out such an atrocity. And obviously wanted to get as much attention on himself as possible. I mean, I was sitting trying to sort of postulate why, if not sort of acting on behest of some dark spiritual force or some organizational force, either of which are possible, and so is both at the same time. But you got the whole idea where rappers, they need to get street cred. They need to, is this a career-based action where, people will listen to his music now, and sure, he'll go to jail for a while or forever. Yeah. But he'll be remembered, that type of thing. It's also a symptom. Yeah. It's also a symptom of a culture where legacy is more important than living in a way. Yeah. There's just so much attached to it. But of course, the very second it happens, you got to roll out the gun control. The assault weapons ban is being spoken about again.
Yeah. I think that's politically in the context of politics and the election year and all that. We had the Roe reversal for the Republicans. And I think we might have the federal assault ban reversal for the Democrats. Little
they're
kudos
working for it for sure.
Yeah, for each side, which is hilarious because on the Wikipedia page for federal assault weapons ban, which a lot of Democrats are really pushing for right now, which was between 1994 and 2004, I believe. It says this is Wikipedia, okay? This isn't some, right-wing blog or something like that. The third paragraph under federal assault weapons ban, it says this: the scientific consensus among criminologists and other researchers is that the ban had little to no effect on overall criminal activity, firearm deaths, or the lethality of gun crimes.
Exactly.
So
didn't save anybody. In fact, the most famous, the sort of grandfather of modern mass school shootings happened right in the middle of the assault weapons ban, and that was
1999 Columbine.
Yeah, Columbine.
Yep. Trench coat and everything. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
so there you go.
It continues, and we'll keeping an eye on it. It's a little early still. There's not more details. I mean, there are more details than what we told you here, but excuse me. But we'll keep an eye on it. So certainly, I mean, Uvalde is still, the details on Uvalde still keep getting crazier and crazier. We haven't touched that in a while.
Yeah.
but it is a full-on cover-up, full-on disaster going on at Uvalde still.
There was that one story about the officer husband whose wife was a teacher. She got shot, and she was talking to him on the phone, and he was trying to get in there with a gun, and they, I think they arrested him, or apprehended him, and they took away his gun.
Yeah, took his gun.
Come on. All right.
It's a whole thing. It just continues. There's more and more. We'll check in on it on another episode. All right.
Gun violence is an epidemic. If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
Watch out! He's got a gun! He's going to steal your banana!
Now, I want to bring a couple of stories. We're just going to breeze through these real quick because they paint a bigger picture. And calling all jingle makers, we also need a jingle for the military-industrial complex because as we've covered in the past months or so, big movements, big changes, and a lot of it, of course, being spurred on by the Ukraine crisis, which is it's a fire sale as far as these military-industrial complex companies are concerned. But who is their customer? Well, it is you, dear taxpayer. So let's see what's going on. We're going to start from ABC, abcnews.go.com. The headline, military struggling to find new troops as fewer young Americans willing or able to serve. Okay, the U.S. military has a recruiting problem, with a former senior military official telling ABC News the viability of the all-volunteer force could be at stake. Oopsie daisies. You mean we're going to have to be like Putin and conscript people because nobody's volunteering for your military? Well, there's a lot of very telling quotes in here. Pentagon data show a simple, troubling trend. Ooh, so troubling. Fewer and fewer young Americans want to serve, and due to obesity and other problems, fewer are qualified. The Defense Department's top personnel and readiness leader blamed the nation's competitive job market as a major contributor while testifying on Capitol Hill in late April. Quote, the department is in fierce competition for skilled, relevant, and innovative talent. The labor market, exacerbated by the effects of the pandemic and military-civilian divide, creates a challenging recruitment environment, Gilbert Cisneros told senators at the Armed Services Subcommittee hearing. Listen to what he just said. He's saying that the competitive job market, the availability of well-paying jobs, is a threat to our armed forces. Well, why is that? Is it perhaps because we have a volunteer force that requires poverty and desperation from young Americans to convince them that joining the military, which could get them killed, which could see them kill others, which perpetuates the quote unquote new world order of violence. Oh, you know what? That's just so sad that our job market is so open and so accepting and so encouraging and alluring to young people, where they don't feel the desperation of forced poverty and lack of options in their life. The entire military-industrial complex of the United States of America requires poverty, requires young people who have no options, requires an inability to afford college, to find
the American dream.
Meaningful jobs, right? The American dream. And we wonder, why on earth would the leaders of our country seemingly be making decisions that would plunge, especially the middle class of our country, further and further down the economic well-being, ladder? And it's because that you cannot have a country, you cannot have a prosperous America unless you have a large portion of our young people desperate for some kind of future. That is what our military is based on. And this guy, what's his name, Cisneros, is literally saying we don't have enough poor, desperate young people. We don't have enough people begrudgingly being convinced that putting their lives at risk and taking the lives of people that the government deems need to be taken. We don't have enough people who are on board with that, who are desperate and just living in the gutters.
How about robots? Robots don't need all that emotional stuff going on.
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked, Gonzo. Because over here at the Telegraph, MSN.com mirroring the Telegraph, we need soldiers, not robots, says Army, after Prime Minister insists more troops not needed. So this is from the UK. Remember, the UK, more American than America. We have this report here. Where's this beginning? Here it is. The Army's new recruitment drive insists robots cannot replace soldiers, just days after the Prime Minister said the UK did not need more troops. It comes as Boris Johnson announced on Thursday that Britain will spend 2.5% of its GDP on defense by 2030. Mr. Johnson said the UK would boost its spending in the wake of the war in Ukraine, as he warned of a very different era of insecurity in Europe.
There's a lot of Boris drama happening apart from all this stuff, too.
That's true. There's lots of drama with that guy. Earlier this week, Mr. Johnson's official spokesman insisted UK troop numbers were the right size following a defense review last year that plans to cut them by 9,500 by 2025. The spokesman added that it was, quote, wrong to focus solely on the numbers and stressed that the government is investing in cyber warfare and other new technology. However, General Sir Patrick Sanders, the head of the Army, warned in a speech on Tuesday that the Rusi think tank that, quote, it would be perverse for him to advocate for reducing the size of the army. Quote, as a land war rages in Europe and Putin's territorial ambitions extend into the rest of the decade and beyond Ukraine.
Wow.
We're in it for the long haul, he
Putin's
says.
so powerful. He's extending big time and space. The rest of the decade and beyond Ukraine. This is amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Here's a couple more pieces of info. Defense sources said, quote, General Sanders said we need to be ready and mobilized now. So we need to fill our ranks in both reserves and regulars really quickly. It would be great if this increase in defense spending manifested in a bigger army. That makes recruiting now even more important. Military sources added that the army currently stood at 77,000 and was decreasing, quote, all the time. Quote, it takes 18 months to alter that trajectory, so the decision to pause or regrow needs to be taken faster than the 2.5% target, they said. And it goes on. But the long story short, both in the UK and in the US, we need more troops. We don't have enough soldiers. We don't have enough desperate young people with no life options that can only see a possible future by joining the military-industrial complex. So I think this is a sign of a lot of things, but mostly that they plan on, they have a plan for some ground war.
Yeah,
for the UK and the US to get into some ground war, and I think the fact in the past few months, the purposeful demolition, intentional demolition of our economy, plunging young people, taking away their hope. This even pairs with the housing crisis. Yeah. Millennials pretty much are locked out of housing for the most part. The Lord can move and do things in people's lives, but as far as the numbers go, the calculations, it's just getting harder and harder and harder, and it's been going this way for a while, but really ramped up in the past 6 months. The stage is set to completely and it's not even about millennials anymore. Millennials are too old to join the military in any sort of meaningful,
Well, think about that. You squeeze the millennials.
Well, it's the Gen Z.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You squeeze the millennials, and their children are the ones that are going to be entering the military.
Yeah. Well, even now, the Gen Zs are of age.
Well, that makes a lot of sense with all these shooters. If you think about the age range of the shooters, that is the age of the military recruitment. So it makes a lot of sense. You get all these, you discover the mental health issue of this country, especially affecting the 18 to 20-something-year-old male.
Yeah.
And you funnel all of them into the military. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's going to work.
And it's interesting because we've seen China purposefully have a government-sponsored masculation campaign.
Right.
We're
demasculating, they're masculating. They're pumping full of testosterone. Yeah.
Right. They're mandating that, young men go to masculation camps or whatever instead of all the other weird stuff that the U.S. kids do. But, you got to remember that the military is the biggest sponsor for games like Call of Duty, the shooter games, the even the movies, the best war movies are all funded by the military. And so that's kind of our own weird little propaganda way to instill violence in young men. I'm not blaming video games for everything, but I'm saying the military spends a bunch of money on violent video games.
Very useful.
And also violent movies and things. That's sort of the American way to instill violence in our young people.
Yeah.
And then you take away all hope for a prosperous future, and boom, then they're ready and willing and violent enough to join the military.
Well,
it's a very well-oiled system.
And think about again, as I mentioned earlier, this knowledge permeating about the World Economic Forum, about Klaus Schwab, all the evil things that are happening at that level, and you have a villain. They have constructed a villain for us to all target, and it's moving into this whole. It's a generational thing now, where the Gen Zs and maybe Gen Alpha will be very much responsible for trying to take it down, and a big war may take place.
And you also have the heroization of young people in Ukraine. You got the 15-year-old with the drone.
The drones. It's all about the drones. Which, by the way, real quick.
Drone strikes have saved lives. Can we shoot them down if over our property? Drones.
Speaking of military and China and all that kind of stuff, this is New York Post here. And the headline, Chinese firm bought North Dakota farm near U.S. Air Force drone base.
Who in the world let this happen?
Why?
This is hilarious.
The Chinese companies purchased a farmland in North Dakota, just down the road from a U.S. Air Force base that houses sensitive drone technology, has lawmakers on Capitol Hill worried about potential espionage by Beijing, according to a report.
Potential. That's hilarious. Potential is the funny word.
Yeah, especially since it already happened, probably, which is why they're buying this property. It's already too late. Fu Fang Group, a Shandong, China-based company that specializes in flavor enhancers and sugar substitutes, recently purchased 300 acres of farmland near Grand Forks, North Dakota, a rural area that lies about a 90-minute drive from the Canadian border. Oh, close to Canada too? Yeah.
300 acres is also it's too small. It's too small for really a Chinese company to want to come in and do it. When China comes in and purchases stuff, they purchased it all. That should be 3,000 acres if it wasn't specifically to get a piece of land close to the drone base.
Right. Well, it's they have good company there. Grand Forks is also 40 miles away from Grafton, North Dakota, where a limited liability company believed to be controlled by billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates recently paid $13 million for thousands of acres of potato farmland, causing a stir among locals. And that's the one we reported on, I think, last episode, where he won the case. They were saying, hey, it was what did they call it? Some archaic law or something like that.
An archaic law from 1930s when that was supposed to protect farmers from monopolistic tycoons. Ooh, how archaic. That's so old school, protecting farmers.
And we dropped the entire Netherlands, the Dutch farmers protesting against the World Economic Forum and the government basically.
Farmers are going to war, man.
Yeah.
All because of the World Economic Forum, influencing the
goods and services
use
tax.
And
GST. Well, no, that was
No. This is the nitrogen.
Sorry,
this is the nitrogen.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
so they're not letting them use nitrogen, and their mechanism of which is to just shut down small farms.
What is it, a third of their goods need to be shut down or destroyed or something like that? It's crazy. But
something like that.
The footage
and
was
the farmers are taking over.
I know. The footage was great too. The Dutch farmers rolling out tanks to block distribution centers and stuff. So
yeah, they're blocking highways. They got their big tractors. They're even going into, they're spreading manure everywhere as a protest. Yeah, the Dutch farmers. Can you imagine American farmers?
I mean,
actually, I can.
That's what I'm saying. I think between the trucker stuff that we've seen in Canada and kind of fizzled out in America, and the farmer stuff, you can have a very disruptive moment in time, a moment in history. In America, the problem if that really breaks out.
Yeah, the problem is the U.S. has already replaced most small farmers with the corporate farms. Yeah. So, it's already half.
It's been taken over from the inside. Yeah.
I've watched just a really heartbreaking little mini documentary on some of these farmers who are getting destroyed, just piece by piece. And it's not even just one thing, but when you have an entire country of family farmers being forced out of the business, it's like a third of them have shut down.
Oh, 33%, you say?
Extremely small amount of time, too. It's like in the past 5 years or something crazy. Meanwhile, Bill Gates gets to come in to buy all the farmland, and China. So, yeah, it's not good. It's time to start a farm.
I'm telling you, man.
I need some. If anybody has a nice big tractor, value for value, I need a big tractor.
We need to
start farming.
Look, we can really stir up the Republicans to support us if we just put out a thing that says, "Hey, you want Chinese firm to own property, or the Canary Cry community to own property? Let's raise some cash to buy some North Dakota farmland."
I'm just about ready to do it. I don't know. I can't have a big farm, but it's time to start farming. It's the only thing that can work.
We need producers to do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's any I know we have farmer producers. Farmer producers, reach out. I have some questions, and we need to get this farm going. So send us an email, CanaryCry.Radio@gmail.com. And we are not going to be able to start this farm, Gonz, without the participation of our producers. So I think it's time we thank some of them right now. What do you think the viability of a large-scale emu ranch would be? I love these little guys. I could see.
What do they produce?
Eggs and meat.
You can eat.
Did I already
emus?
tell you about the turkey legs at like Disneyland or medieval times or?
Is it emu?
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
You go to these Renaissance fairs and they have the giant turkey legs. That's an emu, my friend.
I was having. Funny you bring that up. I was having a conversation with a neighbor about that. About, man, they must really kill a lot of chickens for the medieval times. So it's emus, huh? I can come back with that knowledge next time with the neighbor.
Huh.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So Greg in the chat is saying, I thought for sure Baz was already growing food on the complex. Don't worry, I'm growing food. But we need to go full farm here. I got the garden going. Garden's going. I got some help. We got things growing. That's good. But we got to go big scale, baby. These garden boxes aren't going to do it. Anyways, we're on the value for value model, folks, which is very simple. We take no corporate money whatsoever, not from advertisers, not from platforms, not from nobody, no corporate money. But we are entirely independent because we are independent from corporate money. And how do we stay alive, you might ask? Well, it's only because of the generosity and the participation of the value for value model from our listeners like you. We call them producers because that's what they are. And if you get any value out of what we do, it truly is essential and a revolution. The idea that you would not rely on some corporation to set the value on your independent media. It's up to us. It's up to each and every one of us. And, the value of our farming podcasters. Come on now. Our farming podcasters who are obsessed with robots. We're in a very unique situation, Gonz.
I know.
So
too cutting edge for most people, but
too confusing for the normal media outlets. They cannot put a pin in us, Gonz. And that's
I was telling you how I was seeing our feed on my social medias, and there was a still shot of me sitting here next to Googly Eyes, and I thought, Man, the first impression of people seeing me with this guy must be really something.
Yeah, it's not great. Luckily, we're at a place in the timeline of this show where people are just not full on triggered with rage when they see it.
Yeah,
I mean, in the
true.
early days, it's like, what in the world is going on here?
Gonz sold out. It's probably his handler.
Sold out to this CIA shell with googly eyes. The funniest ones were like, you know, they would say certain things, but the context, the subtext of what they were saying was, "You making fun of me? You making fun of me, googly-eyed man?"
People just offended by seeing you.
Yeah, because they didn't think I was like taking this stuff seriously. I'm like, yo, I take this stuff seriously. I just don't take myself seriously. And you shouldn't take me very seriously either. Just listen to what we say. That's what matters. Okay, we're going to thank some producers, starting out with executive producer. Oh, if you want to be, sorry, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
Okay.
Producers.
That's right. We got producers of all shapes and sizes, but our executive producers are those who come in with their generosity and carry a heavy load for the rest of us. And we did have a knight in shining armor come in, Gonz, and that is executive producer Darren S.
Darren S. coming through.
Yes.
Oh, where's my sparkly sounds? Here, on, let me try again. Sparkly sounds. There we go.
There
Darren S. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Darren S. You know, Darren S. had already produced today's show, but when he heard what it was going on with the execs, he came in, he made it happen. Thank you so much, Darren S.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and he comes in, his executive producership comes in at $111.11. Yes.
It's like a super level 11
plus fees. He added the fees on there too. Thank you. And he has a note here. They may take our fireworks, but they will never take our podcasts. Freedom. I added that last part, but
Mel
you get
Gibson.
Yes, thank you, Darren S. Somebody get this guy a white horse. Because indeed, you did Mel Gibson, Braveheart style, come in and save the show.
Yeah. Good
All right.
stuff. Thank you very much.
Somebody get this guy a medal.
Where'd you find this?
Indeed. Thank you.
Indeed.
Indubitably. Let's real quick let's check in on the supply drop. That's right, CanaryCry.Supply.Drop.com. It's a place you can go to read about the Canary Cry Supply Drop. You already want to support the show. You get value out of the show. You want to put value back in. And when you sign up for $33.33 a month to support the show, not only are you a producer of true independent media, but you will also receive 4 shipments a year of custom manufactured, producer-produced, artist-designed, American manufactured Canary Cry News Talk merchandise objects.
Yeah.
I've yet to find the correct word to describe these things. Items, gear,
resources.
Gear. I think it's gear.
Gear, okay, gear works too.
I think gear is the real word for it. And exciting news, Gonz. Yesterday, I got the message. The supply drop is out. It is in the mail. Supply droppers, prepare thyself for the Canary Cry News Talk Challenge coin. We hit the copper goal, so it's a copper challenge coin, an actual rare metal that holds value, but also it's just a very meaningful challenge coin for Canary Cry News Talkians. And also the tweet Hungry Boys kitchen apron, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff, stickers, pins, etc. Oh, the Legends of the Canarium trading cards. We had the second edition Monty 33 card went out, the correct one, and you got the Propaganda Rooster Legends of the Canarium card went out.
Nice.
So the collections are building for these wonderful supply droppers. If you want to get in on this, folks, go to CanaryCry.Supply.com, sign up for 3333. That's simply just producing the show. And as our free gift to you, we will send 4 of these packages, supply drops, straight to your door every year. And we are every quarter. Second quarter supply drop is out. Keep an eye out for it. I've seen people saying in the chat that theirs have already arrived. So people are stoked right now. And we're, as of tomorrow, we start the hard work of putting together third quarter. And we've decided we'll be letting you know what is in the supply drop early, much earlier than we have been in the past, just so you know what you're getting into. There are no new supply droppers. In fact, we lost a few. Once people get the thing. I mean, we get it. So we're trying to make sure people know what's coming next. Go to CanaryCry.Supply.com, and we are all waiting for the supply drop.
Oh, what happened? Here we go.
Waiting for supply drop.
We're running short on time, Basil. We're
going to zoom right through this then. We're going to thank some more producers like so.
Like so.
Starting with Warrior Chick Jan coming in. Yeah, there she is, 3333, and a note that says, "Happy belated 4th, boys. God bless you."
Thank you, Warrior Chick Jan. Good to see you.
Indeed. She's
Hope
back.
You're doing well.
Next up, we've got producer Chris L. coming in for 3333.
Thank you, Chris L.
And a note. Says, been following Face Like the Sun on YouTube since I was about 18.
Whoa.
Started with Age of Deceit film. I am now turning 27 in August. I want to thank you, Gonz, for being a foundational support to my journey with Christ from the beginning. Elohim bless.
Oh, appreciate that. All praise goes to God.
From the beginning. She's been in the zone. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, man.
Next up, Julie S. comes in with a nice round number.
Thank you, Julie S.
And just a reminder, if you want to support the show in a nice round number, that is you telling us you'd prefer we not disclose the amounts. However, if you make it something funky, make it a weird number, a lot of people put 33 cents or whatever, that lets us know that you don't mind us reading the amount. Thank you, Julie S.
Thank you, Julie.
Next up, we got producer Morv. And producer Morv is on a 110 episode streak.
Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much.
That's right. Morv, one more until 111. Morv. Morv says it's WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hope everyone has a great week. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Thank you, Morv.
Amen. Thank you very much,
Next
Morv.
up, we got producer Alicia A.
Alicia A. Good to see you. Thank you, Alicia.
Oops.
What happened? Are you there?
Oh. Yeah, I dropped out. There we go. I'm back. Thank you, Alicia A. Nice round number. Appreciate it. Did not see it. Next up, Puddin22 is back.
Puddin22.
1111. Greetings, B&G. So good to be back. My human was doing mission work in Honduras last week, so I was cut off from the credit cards. She got a big meow when she returned. Meow, meow, meow. Puddin22.
Thank you, Puddin22.
Thank you very much.
Oh, by the way,
our feline.
My mother's my parents' cat ran away last week, so
oh no.
Yeah, we'll see if she comes back, or if she comes back pregnant, or if she comes back. I was going to
say she might be
might be time.
Might be back, and you'll have more cats than when you started.
It's been hot, so
Yeah. Next up, Eli P. Producer Eli P.
Eli P. Oh, Eli P. It's been a long time, it feels like.
Been a while, yeah.
Thank you.
But Eli's back. Thank you very much. Comes in with 1776.
Merca.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Happy Independence Day. 1776 donation plus fees. Gonzo, do you have any fam that fought for Imperial Japan or American fam that were interred here or fought for America?
Yeah, I didn't have any family here that went to the internment camp or anything like that.
Oh, interred. Oh, yeah. I see.
My grandfather did. He was part of the Japanese military. There's a photo of him in like one of the Japanese. I don't think it's a kamikaze plane, but it's one of those Japanese warplanes. And so he definitely was part of the Japanese military at that time.
Interesting.
I don't think he went to World War II.
Right.
He didn't fight, but he was definitely working as a military. And what's really fascinating too is seeing the family photos of my wife's side, who has obviously fought for America, and the side-by-side image of my grandfather and her grandfather in the military is very interesting to see. Both it's the opposite ends of the war, World War II. So, but anyway, nobody in the internment camp, but yes, family from Japan.
Yeah,
did
what
fight.
An interesting part of our history.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you very much, Eli P.
Thank you, Eli. Next up, we got Laura C. Producer Laura C. Yes, she is the very talented producer who made the New World Order Fantasy League website and also helps with other things. Thank you very much, Laura C. Comes in with 1111. Ooh, and a note that says, "It's my birthday." Happy birthday, Laura C. I didn't know. It must be some sort of upside down birthday. She is in Australia, but I think they do that the same way down there. 26 years old today. Oh, you're a baby, Laura C.
All these people in their 20s. You youngins, you ripe young.
Take that as an example
of how old I am.
No. No, take that as an example. Boomer producers, we got all these young people. Right. There's an intentional agenda worldwide to put them in desperate situations, so they join the military and fight wars for lizard people, and yet they produce the show. Thank you, Laura C. 26 years old today, and have been listening to you both for 6 years.
Wow!
Holy smokes! Thank you for being such a special part of my life so far. I appreciate your consistency, humor,
consistency. We did it. We did it.
That's why we started this show. Spells humor the Australian way. Your faith and how real you are. God bless you. I'm proud to be a Canarian and to have supported with my treasure and my time. Oh, man.
Thank you,
do
Laura.
need to do the song. I'm proud to be a Canarian where at least my mind is free.
Yeah.
And don't listen to the lizard folk who want to take that life from me, and I'll proudly produce next to you to keep the show alive. Come on now. I'm just going right off the dome. This is good. That was your birthday present, Laura C. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura C.
I wonder if Laura C., as an Australian, is aware of that song. Next up, we've got Joelle S. coming in with 1111. Now... No note. Now we have just Sir JC now to the Techno Squatch on a 122 episode streak.
Yeah! Quicker! Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
Oh, it came in 1001.
1001. Amen.
Amen. Hope everyone has a blessed Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Banger for Sir JC. I think I'm living in a perpetual state of exhaustion due to this heat nowadays. You and me both, brother.
Yeah, everyone's so hot.
It's so
I'm
hot.
not going to play the jingle.
I was surprised that you didn't play it earlier.
I will save it for later, yeah.
Next up, we've got producer Jeremy C.
Thank you, Jeremy
coming
C.
in. Pocket full of sevens and fees. Stumbled upon Age of Deceit nearly a decade ago while living on my sailboat. A fellow sailor and I had existential, often paranormal, per him, talks often, and I struggled to express my Christian worldview. AOD summarized it perfectly. Thanks, Gonz.
Thank you.
What is this? AOD Appreciation Day?
Hey, man.
Been a while.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Again, all praise goes to God. I was just doing what I was called to do. I don't think I deserve any kind of true credit here, but thank you. Appreciate it, Jeremy C.
Oh, so humble. Next up, we've got producer LX Protocol V2. Oh, producer bot. Mm-hmm. Oh, and big day. LX Protocol V2, the producer bot, has supported the show 50 episodes in a row. It's a nifty 50 Jubilee Jamboree.
Nifty 50 Jubilee, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Pocket full of sevens and fees. Congratulations,
Congrats.
Producer Bot. LX Protocol V2.
Thank you. First protocol to 50.
Check. He usually sends a note. Okay, here's a note. Yeah, he says, thank you and have a blessed day. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have producer Nicodemus T.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Nicodemus T.
Nicodemus T. Nice round number, no note. Thank you, Nicodemus.
Thank you, Nicodemus.
Next up, we've got producer Jose B. Pocket full of sevens. Keep going, guys. Don't stop. Don't stoppin'.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Don't stop. And never stop. Never stopping. That is very important thing to remember. Thank you, Jose B.
Thank you, Jose B.
Okay. I believe I'm going to do a quick little refresh. Make sure nobody slid in underneath that big stone door that is closing, trying to trap us in some sort of Egyptian tomb. And nope, that looks like it. Thank you very much. We have... that concludes the list of producers who come in with a pocket full of sevens or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got a couple more people to thank, and it goes like this. Starting, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 176 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
That's right. Next up, we got Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 160. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, yeah, he's a streak
Sir Casey.
Yeah.
Sir Casey has 176 episodes in a row.
Oh, that's right.
And we still do not have a jingle for 177. Now, look, Jonathan F. has been keep holding it down with the jingle. The jingles. Marty B did come in with one recently. That's good. But we got to get the Jingle Boys on this.
Yeah.
We were asking for a 177 streak episode weeks ago when we saw this coming.
Maybe
and still nothing.
We need to provide a theme, not just the number, you know?
Okay. I don't know. What a theme.
Because
okay.
144, Polly came in, you know, did a thing for us. So 177, we might need like, I don't know, some kind of...
What is 177? What do we have?
Just 77.
Oh, let's do a theme. I want to do okay. I'm just going to throw it out there. The theme of 177 is Space Cowboy.
Wow,
there you go.
Okay. All right.
That's the prompt, you know. It's like a Mad Lib. That's the prompt. Space Cowboy 177 jingle. Thank you. All right. Moving on to Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 165 episodes in a row.
Knight of Truth.
Thank you so much.
Did you forget someone?
No, I didn't forget, but I haven't memorized Poco Joe 33's name yet. So,
did you name somebody in that?
Y'all got to remember, if you have a special name, you need to put it in there because I have a hard time memorizing these things. So Poco Jojo came in for 1111.
Thank you.
I did it again. Pocojo 33. I cannot believe I keep getting that wrong.
Yeah.
Pocojo 33. There you go. All right. Okay. Next up, we have Streak Sister Gail M. 141 episodes in a row. 3 more.
Oh wait, I have a women version of this. Where did it go? Thought I had.
I don't know, but
there it is.
Yeah, so jarring and nice. While we're at it, we might as well do Veronica D, the other Streak Sister, 141.
It's so quick. You gotta be on your toes.
Yeah. Also, executive producer Darren S. used to be at this level, and I don't know if I read his streak. Darren S. is on a 15-episode streak.
Hey, there it is.
Executive producer Darren S.
Rocket Man, burning out his fuse out here alone.
That's right. He is Rocket Man. Sorry, we forgot about that, Darren. Last but not least, Runk Smash is back, and he's back on a streak. 2 episodes in a row.
Hey. 1-2.
1-2. Okay, that wasn't bad. That just took 7 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it. That, as of now, concludes our list of financial producers, keeping the show alive. Thank you so much. We have some other producers who came in with their time and their talent. We'll thank them later on. But for those of you who we just thanked, thank you again for your patronage.
Shut up!
up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Beep. All right. If you go to CanaryCry.Newstalk.com, you'll see a green tab on the side or the bottom. You click that. You can leave us a voice message. You're giving us permission to play the voice message, but it's not guaranteed. Gonz, while this happens, I need to take my video away for 1 second, but I am listening.
Okay, we got one from Rochelle.
Hi, Canary Cry team. I hope you're having or enjoyed your 4th of July. And like our claim of separation from England, I wanted to sing to you the first couple lines of the Song of Moses, where they took back their independence from Egypt. So this is Israel's separation from Egypt. And it also tells of the future reunion on the Mount of Olives with us and our Creator. Yahweh is my strength. Yahweh is my song. He has given me victory. My heart beats for Yah. I will praise and exalt him. Yahweh the warrior, the finest of Pharaoh's armies, are drowned in the sea of reeds. The deep waters rushed over them, and they sank to the bottom like a stone. Stay strong for Jesus. Thank you all for what you're doing for Canary Cry. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Rochelle.
What a nice gift to the producers. Yeah. Thank you very much, Rochelle. Are there any more voice messages?
No.
Okay. I have a message. We had one that came in that I just want to read real quick.
Sure.
And then I have an interesting proposition for you, Gonz. Yeah. So we're going to start out. This came from producer Jason G. It says, "What's up? My best buddy Basil and Cabana Boy."
Yeah.
Oop, I am losing control. Here we go. "I'm a longtime listener since Natalina." Oh, Natalina, we love you. "Introduced me to you guys in 2012, or was it 2013? Who's to say? And a patron. I recently dropped Patreon and now support monthly through your link. Anyway, my quick story. The family and I decided to do a fossil excavation dinosaur dig as part of our vacation this summer. That's fun. We coordinated it through the Creation Evidence Museum located in Glen Rose, Texas. On day one, my son picked up a book to purchase from their museum that happened to be written by Dr. Aaron Judkins.
Hey,
what's up,
Dr. Judkins?
We held up purchasing until the next day. On the following day, just after purchasing it, we prepared to head out to the dig site. Aaron came walking through the door.
Wow.
And was joining the group for the dig that day. So my humble brag, we got to participate in a dig with the Aaron Judkins, as well as have him answer many of our questions regarding the Ark, Dead Sea Scrolls, Dino Human Tracks, and just stories in general. I gave credit to CCR for introducing his work to me. Oh, God bless you. Good job. He needs to know that that we're still here. A good time for sure. Kudos to him and his heart and determination, as well as his patience with our inquisitiveness in signing my son's book. Thanks for all that you guys do, Jason. Awesome story.
Awesome.
Lucky. I want to go on a dig with Aaron. What the heck? Dr. Aaron Judkins. Maybe we should do a Canary Cry Dino dig.
Well, if we went out to Glen Rose, Texas, I'm sure we'll run into him.
We could figure it out.
Yeah, we'll make a whole episode out of it.
Yeah. So we've been wondering if we were going to do live things and events, what would we do? It's good to keep in mind that we have friends all over the country and the world. Yeah, who we could sort of do a tour, stop in at Branson, stop in at Glen Rose, get Derek to, I don't know, come play fantasy football with us and talk about Nephilim, stop in and see Aaron Judkins. There's just all sorts of friends we could stop in and say hi. Okay, thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
And it's about time to wake up, but Gonz, you have a heart out today.
I do.
here's my, I mean, let's just be realistic. Gonz, you and I, our problem is that we are rarely realistic about the timing of this show.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, what if we combined second block and third block and then do artist break and end the show just right after artist break?
We can try.
I mean, even that's not short enough.
No, I mean, I'm looking at the clock. Half hour is about as max from here on out. So
that's even. So here,
I don't even know if that's possible.
I think we could drop all of second block.
Ooh, you're going to drop COVID, mosquitoes, Bezos.
But we can run through, and I can summarize all these in about 30 seconds.
Oh, don't.
Or we can move them to next show.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough call.
I know.
Time
is
running
tough.
out. The clock is running as we try to make
I'm
this
just
decision.
waiting for a yes from you. Would you rather do second block or third block?
Let's just I don't know.
We'll mix them.
Yeah, let's just run through all of it in some kind of crazy speed.
No, let's do this.
Okay.
We'll do COVID.
All right.
We'll do COVID, and then we'll do Antarctica.
Okay.
COVID, Antarctica, art block, and we'll just end the show.
Okay.
Everything else can be put to another episode, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right. Is that a good compromise?
That sounds like it might work.
We might be able to pull this off. Okay. But we are going to be doing COVID stuff. I think we could actually get away on YouTube with this COVID stuff.
I think so too.
I think so too.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, very specifically. No. We're keeping with it. We got to say goodbye to YouTube. Okay. What follows is too hot for YouTube. YouTubers, go listen somewhere else. CanaryCry.Party.
Yes, go to Twitch.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well.
Yeah. Real quick. Just because I saw there's a bunch.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
There's a bunch of new people in YouTube, so don't turn it off real quick. I'm going to give them a link to follow. Actually, it'd be faster if you did it. Do you have Twitch open?
No.
Ugh. Then
I
it
never
won't be
have
faster.
Twitch open, but I can hopefully, I think if I type in a link, it should go to Twitch.
Yeah, drop the Twitch link for the YouTubers, because there's a bunch of new YouTubers, and to go to CanaryCry.Party might be just too.
Oh, you want me to actually?
No, I got it. I got it taken care of. I'm going to copy and paste a link for all the YouTubers to follow, to go to Twitch, to watch the rest of the show. And because there's new people, I don't want to just bail on them. So there you go. We're going to finish the show at that link. Everything that is to follow this would get us kicked off YouTube. And we've already lost like 250,000 followers because of that. We just don't want to play that game. So now, farewell, YouTube. Farewell.
Mm-hmm.
It's Corona time. COVID-19. COVID-19. COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Yes. COVID-19. COVID-19. Vaccine. Number one way.
That's right. Vaccine is number one way to what? I don't know. But NPR.org has, I saw this pop up and it filled my heart with such glee.
Yeah.
And not only at the topic matter, whatever, that makes sense. Like the topic or the subject matter, but how absolutely wrong they got it, which they do on NPR on a daily basis. This is titled, quote, "My Body, My Choice, How Vaccine Foes Co-opted the Abortion Rallying Cry." How did they do such a thing? I like how it's co-opted, and like, how could they have possibly co-opted an obvious hypocrisy?
Yeah. The public went
when
with
it
logic.
came to abortion v. vaccines. Okay. My body, my choice. How vaccine foes co-opted the abortion rallying cry. Now, remember, this might not be news to anybody, but this is an exploration, a deconstruction of how the mainstream media is crafting the worldview for those who are unaware of the spell that's being cast over them. In the shadow of LA's Art Deco City Hall, musicians jammed on stage, kids got their faces painted, and families picnicked on lawn chairs amid the